Welcome back to Bold TV. I'm your host, Philip Michael. Now, let's talk about diversity and access in tech with the founder of Alacriti Analytics and the Diversity Tech Summit, Abner Larrieux. Welcome, Abner.
Welcome. Thank you.
Now,
I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you. Now, let's start with Alacriti. What is that and what does it do?
So Alacriti Analytics is a SaaS-based enterprise platform. And what it does is three things. It connects underrepresented founders, minority and women-owned businesses to Fortune 500 companies and government agencies to help them access contracts, opportunities, and capital.
So it facilitates the money with the segments where money hasn't been accessed much before.
Absolutely.
In effect. All right. Now, speaking of that, and moving on from that particular foundation, what do you think is the biggest gap? What do you think the biggest gap is for tech employees and startup founders of color in terms of getting a business off the ground and getting funding? What's the main driver behind that?
Sure. So there are a number of data points that speak to access and resources, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we see that many of the tech founders, including myself, have excellent ideas that they want to scale, but they don't necessarily have the networks and the resources in order to take the business to the next level. Mm-hmm. So in other words, there are doors that have, they're just not being opened. And so through our platform, what we're doing is we're creating a conduit to help these companies get the right access that they need, and also make the relationships, because it is a relationship-driven business.
Absolutely.
In order to help them grow their businesses.
Why isn't the tech industry more inclusive, whether it's by design or whether it's just by circumstance or happenstance? Why is it the way that it is with the lack of diversity?
Sure. So it's a couple of things. Number one, it is the structural inequity. So some things have been established for hundreds of years, and so opportunities that normally would be open to other groups are just it's homogeneous, right? And so it's bias, right? We know that there's bias in there, and then also it's about relationships. It's the old boys network that oftentimes people go to folks they've actually worked with or have some relationship with in business. And so if you're a new person coming to the fold, it's a steeper climb for those companies. And on the workforce side, I would have to point to bias, right? People hire based on comfortability, on
what they know, what they see, what they're used to.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Now, and that actually goes to because you hear a lot of companies, a lot of business come out and say we want to we want to bring more diversity, but they may not know how to reach these segments. They don't speak the same language. There's a generational gap. There's a culture gap a lot of times. And how can Black and brown people from this side of the table support one another and perhaps help bring forth that connection so people can relate to one another better and get diversity going that way? What can we do on our side?
Excellent. So I think part of it is understanding that adding to the collective voice mm-hmm. and having an organizational sort of process and direction is key. One person may be able to move the needle slightly, but collectively we're building an ecosystem and community, quite frankly, with Alacriti and this conference to give people, underrepresented founders and entrepreneurs, a support network and mm-hmm. a system they can run ideas and problems that they're facing in their journey, and someone within the network is bound to have been there and offer that intel and guidance to help them grow and scale.
Which is a perfect segue to the next question. Tell us about, well, not really a question, more like a prompt. Tell us about your summit. What is that?
So this summit really started in response to a number of social upheavals that we're all familiar with in 2020, but it goes beyond just addressing kind of the social ills. But from our perspective, we're looking at building taking away from building the us versus them and building a we kind of ethos around solving economic justice issues, right? And so this summit, what it does is it brings together the ecosystem of underrepresented founders, startups with the VC venture capitalist ecosystem, private equity, banking, academicians, accelerators, and all of these voices are folks who need to work together and to bridge those gaps and to create more connectivity around solving the problems around diversity. And so we all know that underrepresented founders get less than 1% of venture capital funding, right? So $167 billion is spent in venture capitalist funding yearly. And based on the numbers, only 1% of those dollars are going to underrepresented founders. So for us, we're talking about funding the American dream, right? And so if we're going to do that, we have to do it as a collective movement. And so with our conference, what we're doing is we're bringing all of the thought leaders and change makers to talk about those problems, but also to come away with actionable insights and solutions. And so we're having a number of panel discussions, 7 panel discussions, all-day virtual event where minority founders will have an opportunity to talk about successes that they've had in partnering with venture capitalists, because it's not. And so we want to make sure that our attendees, which we're expecting to have over 500 or so, to listen to some of the success stories and to convey a message that it is possible to have your idea go from ideation to product development to market launch and to get the necessary capital to grow your tech startup. And so we're completely invigorated and excited that this is our inaugural event, that we've received an enormous response from the industry, from the state to the private side, accounting firms, law firms who are all involved in this space. And it seems like, as you pointed out earlier, Philip, that corporations have really stepped up and are looking to put their money where their mouth is, to create more opportunities. And not only for I believe if we solve for underrepresented founders, you really solve for the entire industry. There's a data point that breaks my heart, that says that the tech industry loses $16 billion a year for failure to have diversity in their businesses. And so another point that I'd like to share is that there's a major corporate philanthropy part of this event. We want to educate the next generation of potential entrepreneurs and VC leaders. And so what we're doing is we're partnering with the Eagle Academy Foundation. They have a public school that does tremendous work with young men of color. And so 15 of their top students will have an opportunity to participate in the event, to ask specific questions about talent development, career opportunities. So we're not only looking at addressing the now, but we're really looking at forward thinking in terms of making sure that the entire ecosystem has the pipeline and the talent to make it very productive.
So I know the why and the what. When and where? Where does this take place, and how can we get there?
Absolutely. So it's June 16th. That's a Wednesday, and it'll be launched via Facebook as well as YouTube. Mm-hmm. In order for you to access this event, you would have to go to our platform, which is Alacriti Analytics. That's www.alacriti, Analytics, Analytics.com.
All right, alacrityanalytics.com. And how much is it to participate? Is it virtual?
It is virtual, as I mentioned. It is free for general admission. We do have a really cool surprise. The keynote speaker is a dynamic leader. And so for participants, in order to access the keynote, there'll be an admission fee of $50, as well as opportunities to matchmake and to pitch your business one-on-one with potential VCs.
Potential VCs and investments. Awesome. Great job that you're doing there, Abner, and I can't wait to hear more about it. Thank you so much for being here today.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
And thank you guys for watching. Make sure you follow Bold TV on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Until next time, I am out of here.